Alright, so we're in chapter 11, still on section 3, so this is part 2, consumer loans. So the stated interest rate for most consumer loans, like a car loan, is normally the annual percentage rate, also called the APR, like we just learned about, as required by the Truth in Lending Act. The payment amount for these loans is given by the following formula. The payment is equal to the amount of the loan times, and then we got a big fraction, the rate over the number of payments per year, all over 1 minus 1 plus the rate over the number of payments per year to the number of payments per year times the years. Okay, so here PMT is payment. So it's going to be on a regular basis, however many n times a year. And then you have your R, which is your interest rate. And then T is years. Okay. The rate needs to be written, we need to convert it to a percent. Sorry, it is a percent, we need to convert it to a decimal. Okay, A is the amount of the loan. So before we were taking the loan amount, we were finding the regular payment, now we're going the other way. And then N is the number of compoundings per year. Now that can fall usually into a couple different categories. If it's once a year, then it's an annual rate. If it's twice a year, it's called semi-annual. If it's quarterly, that would be 4 times a year. Okay, 12 times a year would be monthly, because there are 12 months. And then if you have 365, that would be your daily. Now, as mentioned in the last section, there are a couple different ways to count the days, but for our purposes, we're just going to stick to 365. I will work it out if you want to work it with 366, but that's pretty rare to use 366, or if you want to work it out with 360, I'll have both those answers ready. They will be in the same ballpark, but they will be different. So you just have to be careful with your setup there. So let's go through an example. Okay, so example 3. An integrated visual technology is offering anyone who purchases television in an annual interest rate. So here we give an annual interest rate of 9.5 for 4 years. So we know R is 0.095 because we take the 9.5% and divide it by 100 for 4 years. So that tells us that T is 4. Now I'm just going to write years next to it just so I know. If Andrea Schmeier purchases 50-inch television for $5,995, so that would just going to be our A. Find her monthly payment. Find her monthly payment. So we have everything we need here. Okay, we're annual, so that means n times a year. Oh, sorry. Here we have annual. Here we have monthly, so that means n is going to be 12 because we're going to be dealing with months. And then we're just going to plug it into our formula from above. So where we have our payment, which your book is calling PMT. Other books call it R. So it just depends on what you're looking at. And we're just going to plug it in 5995. And then we have times. And then we're going to have our R, 0.095 over N. That's our numerator. Then we have 1 minus 1 plus our R, 0.095 over N to the 12. And then our exponent here is going to be 12 times 4. Or you could just say 48. So you could calculate that separately or do it all together. It's up to you. I'm just going to leave it in there. So the hardest part about this problem, I think, is just putting it all in on the calculator. Okay, so I have my TA ready to go, so I'm just going to put it on here. So you have to be very careful. So start with your 5995. And then you need parentheses. So we're going to do our numerator, and then we're going to divide by our denominator. Okay. Now you could enter this all in at once, and then store it as value and recall it, but I think that that's a little bit more complex because we haven't done that kind of calculator work. So there's my numerator. Whoops, forgot a decimal point. Okay, there's the numerator, and then we're going to divide by the denominator. So I'm putting another set of parentheses here for my denominator. So I do 1 minus 1 plus 0.095 over 12 to that, and then we said this is 12 times 4. So if you want to make the calculator do that multiplying, you're going to need another set of parentheses just for that. Okay, to the negative 12 times 4. Now it doesn't matter if you put the negative on the 12 or the 4, that's up to you. And we get 150, so our payment is 150.613, and it continues. Okay, so again, I only went to 3 decimal places because what we do here is we're going to look at this digit because we want to round the 1. The 3 tells us to round down, so we get 150.61 as our monthly payment. So then I'm going to rewrite it as my rounded answer and add my money and just put some context there. Now when you do these, what ends up happening is if you're a bank, they'll almost always round this one up, so then the last payment's a little bit smaller. As this is, your last payment to pay that off would be just a little bit bigger because we rounded down. So there is a discrepancy there, but for our sake we're just going to stick to normal rounding.